Maybe nice kicks, hype beats for hype shit. Dunk high, Wu-Tang, all up on my fly kicks. I'm just a sneakerhead. I'm just a sneakerhead. I'm just a sneakerhead. 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 I'm just a sneakerhead.
What's going on, YouTube? This is Kevin back with another episode of KEV'S Kicks. So another shoe that I'm going to be talking about is the Jordan 1 Mid, and these are the pairs that I have. I have 4 of them, and I used to have 5, but I sold the 5th one. I'll get into that later. But it's a very controversial topic. People really, for some reason, hate the mids, and I'm going to be honest, the mids were the first Jordans I bought because when I first started getting around to sneaker collecting, I still had a pretty scarcity-oriented mindset. So when I bought Jordans, I wanted to make sure they weren't too super expensive. So I'm going to be, I'll talk about the specific style, like the specific colorations soon, but right now let's just get into the Jordan 1 Mid. What's so controversial about it, and its popularity. So when the Jordan 1 Mids came out, they didn't have these like cool colorations, in my opinion, because I'm with every sneakerhead. When they first started coming out, their earlier models were just ugly as fuck. You know what I'm saying? It was just god awful, in my opinion. And when I started getting around to sneaker collecting, it was right around the time when the Jordan 1 Mids, just like the Dunks, were going through a renaissance, you know, a birth in popularity. And I think the Jordan brand really started turning around when they started making more colorations in line with traditional styling of Jordans. Like this pair right here is the first one I ever bought, the Chicago Black Toes. They're called Chicago Toes, Black Toes, whatever you want to call them. And they were affordable. And in the beginning, when you first start wearing them, like with any kind of Jordan 1s, they kind of feel stiff, but the more you wear them, the more comfortable they get. They just feel great. And even after putting some shoe trees, you just put them on again, and they'll be super comfortable within an hour. And what I really liked about these ones is that, because I guess it also can be contributed to how much I care about taking care of my sneakers, is that they have yet to super crease. Like they're capable of doing some greasing, but I just put in the shoe trees and do some cleaning, and they're more or less gone. So another thing I really liked about the mids is that, see, I'm a short guy. I'm only 5'5", and I have a pretty stocky build. You know, I'm not super skinny, and there's a constant belief that bonier, meatier guys can't pull off the Jordan 1s. They're meant for skinny dudes, and it's just not true. But there is a sort of agreement that when it comes to some forms of styling, especially with how our feet are designed, you know, how our feet were made, you know, it sometimes doesn't always agree with the highs. And I think for me personally, not only were the mids great and affordable for me to start collecting, the ones that I specifically got they just worked. They were good. They looked good. I learned especially as I learned how to style, you know, with getting different kinds of jeans and joggers. Once I started learning more of how to pull the shoes off, I was able to really fall in love with these particular colorations of the sneaker. And in 2020 was really the year when Jordan Brand really started putting more effort into the quality of their mids and used more famous colorations to grab more attention, so that they could operate as like more affordable versions of the sneakers that everyone is so hyped about. You know, ever since The Last Dance, the demand for the Jordan 1, especially with the bread and the royal colorations, they just skyrocketed. And you know, getting a pair of the breads in their most recent retro, it can go for as high as $1,000. So, and not that everyone has that kind of money laying around, but with this one, you know, like $180 it came out at 125, but now it can resell for like 170, 180, depending on the right reseller. These are a decent substitute, and what most people don't understand is that the highs, they're just only a teeny bit higher, like this much. And so it's hardly noticeable. And I guess another big pet peeve is that the mids rely on this Jordan, this Jumpman symbol in the tongue, instead of the traditional Nike Air tab on it. So I guess that's what pisses other people off. And I'm gonna be honest, another pet peeve when I first started getting these were like the black toe, and I really tried to get past it, but it's just not. I just don't know how to go about it. And another reason why people like to get these is that they're very easy. They're pretty easy to customize. 2020 came around. That's when the mids really started popping with good colorations, good materials, good quality, and that's when the mid has become more or less accepted. And there are actually some colorations that are way better than their high counterparts. Like for instance, the metallic black toe mids. I'm gonna admit it right here, way better than the highs. I've seen them, ugly as fuck. Just I don't care for them. I don't like them. And sorry, I just like really showing my long hair. But the point of the matter is, they're just not cool. But the mids are. Same thing with the light smoke grays. You know, the light smoke gray highs are pretty dope, but the mids just kind of pull it off a little bit better. There are also examples like the obsidian sanded purples. The mids are just gaining more and more acceptance now, similar to the dunks, you know. That's why I really believe in this, another rule of sneakerheads. Don't discriminate right away. Yes, there are going to be some shoes, in our opinion, that is complete bullshit, but to others, they're going to be awesome. We just have to respect it, and eventually what might be not accepted will probably be what's going to be the super hype thing in the future. And I'm pretty sure some of you guys have already noticed, but the three in the back here, they're unlaced. That's because in another upcoming video, I'm going to be doing a little bit of cosmetic work, a little bit of customization work to these. Because like I've admitted, I just can't stand too much of this black toe on these Chicago black toes. So I'm just going to do a little bit of customization where I'm just going to make this a white toe to make it look better. It's just some... I've styled this and I really like these shoes, but the black tone just, it's almost, I just can't seem to get past it. And you don't always have to wear your sneakers the way they're made, you know? There's a reason why sneaker customizations exist, so that way you can rock them the way you want to do it. And also, as much as I love these mid versions of the Royals and the Breads, the big difference of how there's a little bit of the color of the silhouette near the shoelace holes, I've just never been able to get past it. No matter how many, I rock these quite a bit, and yet it just doesn't create that great color blocking in my opinion. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of cosmetic work to make this black, you know, it's just gonna pop off better in my opinion. And if anybody has a problem with that, screw off. This is my channel. I'm going to do what I want. And the techniques that I'm going to be using and the materials that I'm going to be using, I picked up from watching other sneakerheads and their videos. So I'm going to ensure you can count on me including their links into my bio, into the descriptions for when I release the customization video. But these are pretty okay, so I'm not going to do anything to these ones. That's why they're still laced up. But yeah, upcoming video. These three are going to get some work done on them. Just a little modification. And now I'm just going to talk about the individual colorations. So these are known as the Union SE Royals, the Union Special Edition Royal Mid ones. There's another version where it's Union Red, where instead of the blue, it's just red here. And I'll be honest, when I first saw them, I was pretty skeptical because I wondered because you know, traditional Jordans are made with leather all around, but black stuff here near the toe box. It's nylon, not necessarily super sexy material. And then there's canvas here on the ankle and on the arch support, right? It felt really weird, but once I started wearing them and with my joggers, with my jeans, and these were just great. These went well, and the toe box was good quality. You know, it doesn't crease that often. Even when I just walked around a lot, when I was just doing errands, like going to the supermarket or getting another pair of shoes. So I highly recommend these Union SC Royal Blues. Great shoe. Yes, you're gonna have some skepticism from just looking at them, but you're gonna see these are pretty dope. These are really dope sneak. This is a really dope mid. I highly recommend these. Make sure to include all the names of these colorations in the description. Then this is the Chicago Black Toe. This is actually the first Jordan I ever bought. You know, in a previous video, I took my homie Mark to buy some Concords, and he related his story of how I also was, not too long before that, I accompanied him on buying the Jordan 6 rings, and those were his first Jordans. These were my first Jordans. And I also bought these along with the green toe mid ones. I sold them, the green toes, because as much as I tried, I just could never be able to pull them off completely with the way I dressed, and in the end, if it doesn't vibe with you, it just doesn't vibe with you. But I did manage to get a pretty sweet Insta post where I wore a green toe, the right green toe shoe on my right foot and the left Chicago shoe on my left, and to represent the Mexican flag. That was actually a big reason why I bought those two in the first place, because, you know, Independence Day of Mexico was coming up and I really wanted to do something to celebrate while also getting some dope shoes. And these two I bought around the same time from StockX. These were known as the Band 2020 Mids, mid ones, and these are technically you would call these the Royals, but they've gone through a couple of different names, because there's actually another version called the Hyper Royal, which is pretty similar but also very distinct from this one, and it just caused a lot of confusion. And actually, when I bought these on StockX, they were called the Hyper Royal Tumble Leathers. Like, yes, there's a bit of, you could tell there's tumble leather on this, but it's just easier to call these the Royals. I mean, besides the little coloration near the shoelaces, another big difference is that the bottom is black instead of blue, from what you expect from traditional Royal high ones. But these are also really good shoes. I really like wearing these, and the Bands. They're just great mid shoes, and I think it was the release of these that helped create the explosion, the renaissance of popularity for mids, because after that, Jordan just made sure to put more effort into designing their mids, and eventually they just gradually became more and more accepted. There's actually another version of the Chicago's called the Chicago Mids. The big difference is that it gets the white toe here, but on the ankle it's completely white here. And it would actually be a simpler thing if I just got those shoes and painted red, but I already bought these when I first started out, and I'm just not gonna throw money away on a pair of shoes that I'm just gonna do a little bit of work on, when I already have a pair of shoes that I can do the work on here. And I already got the material, so it doesn't matter to me, really. And besides, mids already had some bit of popularity, but it was very rare because they had to be good shoes. Like, for instance, the Old Love, New Love pack, those were mids, and they became really popular. They're really hard to find. I remember once when I went to the shoebox and there was a pair there. I don't know if it's still there, but I was such in awe when Brandon just had them, and I said, dude, you know what you have here? The New Love Jordan 1s. These shits are almost impossible to find. But again, you know, mids have now become more accepted within the sneaker community, and I'm grateful for that. And yes, I'm eventually going to start getting highs, get high Jordan 1s, but I like these mids. They really feel good on me, and even once I start wearing more of the traditional high Jordan 1s, I'm not just going to discard these because I really like them. They've served me well. And that's the story of the Jordan 1 mid. These are the first types of Jordans that I ever started wearing, and I highly recommend these. I look forward to hope you guys look forward to when I release the video on when I do the little cosmetic work on these three. Anyway, hey YouTube, bye.